And a welcome here to Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora, hanging out with you where sports truly meets that thing called life. We appreciate you being here with us every Monday through Friday from 9 a.m. to 11 a.m. Eastern time. And today was a little bit different because we had the first part of the show all set up for you and ready to go in our special with Mike Washington Jr. And now we have the opportunity to get back here into our Thursday schedule with Papa Joe and hanging out with PJ here on Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora from inside of the Heritage Hill Studios. And it is my honor and my privilege to be here with you every Monday through Friday from 9 a.m. to 11 a.m. Eastern Time as we were out of town in our second home and our second hub, really, of Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora and Dan Tortora Broadcast Media. We had the opportunity to bring you specials and to bring you something that was very unique and a lot of fun for me. We had a special with Josh Lambo, who joined the show for the first time ever, Jacksonville Jaguars kicker, including in that 2017-18 season where the team was just a step outside of making their first ever Super Bowl. And so here on Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora, we had the opportunity to share his story and to talk about that time and to speak about everything. And to really, as Josh said to me after the show, he said, "You let me be fully me. You let me talk about my next venture, what I'm going into as a professional, and to put that out in the ether, put that out in the universe." And so I'm so honored that I got to do that show with Josh. I'm so honored that you got to see Mike Washington in the studio again. Mike Washington Jr. played at CNS as a running back for the North Stars. And he was recruited by a bunch of schools. He ended up going to the University at Buffalo. As you just heard, he had multiple different coaches, went through a lot of strife that is unfortunate, but it is part of the beast of collegiate athletics. And now he's going to New Mexico State with a couple years of eligibility left, and I'm really looking forward to what he's going to do there in the classroom and as a running back. And you got to see our specials with Gene Marshall in a Moments with Marshall that went behind the scenes at Binghamton University and part of our exclusive multimedia marketing partnership, which was an incredible story to have with Gene. And I'm so happy that we got to do that and share that. And I thank him for his kind words again. And you got to also go into the house, the home of Dick Rockwell, who is synonymous with Lemoyne and was Lemoyne's former baseball coach. He was an athletics director at Lemoyne, and him and his wife invited me into their home to tell his story. And you got to watch that story. So, this has been a really wonderful week of specials. It has meant the world to me to be able to share these things with you. And I look forward to everything else we're going to be able to do here on Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora this year. This show is more than a show to me. And it's home. It's living every day, getting to do what I love and love what I do. And that is such an honor that I can never thank God enough for. That I get to wake up every day and be me. And show that, and to reach out to people who have been so kind to reach back to me and allow me the opportunity to tell their story and build these incredible friendships. So inside of the Heritage Hill Studios this morning, I'm blessed, I'm thankful, I'm grateful, I love it. And Papa Joe, one of the greatest that there is, not on the air, just on the air. He is phenomenal on the air. He's wonderful. He keeps me on my toes all the time. But he's one of the best people that I know. He's a blessing. And just to get on the air, this man has fought for many years with doing everything he can to be here for himself, for his family, for you all. And I can't thank him enough for that. So with that being said, I welcome the incomparable, amazing second dad in my life, Papa Joe. PJ, how we doing?
Thank you, Daniel. That was very kind of you. Well, we're hanging in here. We're just sitting at the kitchen table like I usually do and getting ready to talk, which is fine.
Yeah, and and PJ, we have a lot of things to get into, a lot of things to unpack. Scottie Scheffler, they dropped the charges. Strange incident, weird thing, but the charges have now been dropped. I've discussed this on the show, not the dropping of the charges yet, which we're talking about now, but I've discussed this weird situation. And I mean, basically, to give some people some background, the charges that we talked about last week have been dropped. Now, he said, quote, "I hold no ill will toward Officer Brian Gillis. I wish to put this incident behind me and move on, and I hope he will do the same." Now, that was to the Louisville police officer who arrested him outside of Valhalla Golf Club. He said, quote, "Police officers have a difficult job, and I hold them in high regard. This was a severe miscommunication in a chaotic situation," end quote. During a court hearing on Wednesday, Jefferson County Attorney Mike O'Connell said prosecutors would not pursue the case and asked for the charges to be dismissed with prejudice, meaning they can't be filed again in the future. O'Connell said, quote, "Based upon the totality of the evidence, my office cannot move forward in the prosecution of the charges filed against Mr. Scheffler. Mr. Scheffler's characterization that this was a big misunderstanding is corroborated by the evidence. The evidence we reviewed supports the conclusion that Detective Gillis was concerned for public safety at the scene when he initiated contact with Mr. Scheffler. However, Mr. Scheffler's actions and the evidence surrounding their exchange during this misunderstanding do not satisfy the elements of any criminal offenses," end quote. Scheffler wasn't present at the hearing. He was arrested back on May 17th by Gillis, a Louisville Metro Police detective, who alleged that Scheffler's SUV accelerated and dragged him to the ground, causing pain, swelling, and abrasions to his left wrist and knee. The golfer was trying to drive around traffic that had been backed up by a man who was struck and killed by a shuttle bus earlier that morning. Scheffler was booked and released less than 2 hours before his second round tee time. He had faced 4 charges, including felony second-degree assault of a police officer. And now all of that, PJ, is over. By the way, to make note of this, Scheffler, after going through all of this and having less than 2 hours until his tee time, ended up finishing at Valhalla with 5 under par. So, didn't seem to faze him that much. What do you think about this whole situation, PJ?
First of all, Scottie Scheffler's a hell of a player. And this was unfortunate. I mean, it was handled terribly. No doubt about that. It was handled terribly by Mr. Gillis, I mean, and Scheffler's got to have a little bit of blame in this, too. Something happened. There's no visual on it. There's no corroborating evidence. There's no testimony from any person that saw it. So something happened there. Because a man doesn't scrape his pants and get bruises if something didn't happen.
Right.
Now, whether Scheffler did it on purpose or he didn't, I'm leaning toward he didn't, because that's not the kind of guy he is. He's a vanilla guy. I mean, he's clean. I mean, he doesn't even swear, doesn't even drink, doesn't even smoke. I mean, come on. What he was guilty of was moving away from the officer and not hearing what he said. And with that, the officer grabbed onto the SUV, and Frank was being dragged. I don't know how far, but not very far. Scheffler's, "I'm sorry, I didn't hear you." And then the guy gets all pissed off. And then the other police come in and they drag him out of the car and they put cuffs on him and slap 4 charges on him. I think they were a little overly aggressive, for one thing. It should have been talked out at the scene, but it wasn't. And he said, because the young man, who does have an extensive record of problems, shall we say, he doesn't have a clean record. So he's had some difficulty being a policeman. But Scheffler has no difficulty being a golfer, that's for sure. Right. He that day, after going through all that, goes out and shoots 66. I go figure that.
It's crazy. It's absolutely crazy, and hopefully this can all be figured out. And again, I want to restate something that I talk about all the time on the show that I should not have to say, but I'm going to say it. Cops are good people. And not every cop, let me put it to you like this. Not every cop, just like not every doctor, just like not every teacher, just like not every broadcaster, just like not every golfer is necessarily a good person. But one cannot take they all cannot take the blame for one. And this is yet another incident where cops look questionable, but it's not cops look questionable. A cop looked questionable. And I just want to reiterate to people to please not disrespect police officers because of the actions of one once again. Just like I would not want someone to hate me as a broadcaster because of their experience with another broadcaster, just like I would not want you to not go to the doctor because of your experience with another doctor. Understand that individuals are individuals, and once you group people together, chaos arises. So please do not disrespect police officers, and understand that there are some out there that could be better. Just like there's a lot of teachers that could be better, and there's a lot of media people that could be better. There's a lot of janitors that could be better, groundskeepers, and so on and so forth. So please respect your law enforcement. Unfortunately, I have to say that in today's America because some people think that anarchy is a better choice, which I severely disagree with. So please be good to your fellow police officers. Police officers, please be good to people. I don't know what else to say about that. We're going to take a step aside for a fast break. When we come back here on Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora, PJ and I will jump into the PGA a little bit more and get PJ's thoughts on it. And then we'll jump into Major League Baseball right after this from the Heritage Hill Studios. This is Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora. Central New Yorkers, you can now enjoy the taste of Heritage Hill award-winning craft beers, seltzers, and a full bar at 3 locations. Spend your weekends at their beautiful location in Pompey with its amazing views, sunsets, family, and pet-friendly facilities, as well as extensive private event areas. Get their taps, tonics, and tastes in their brand new North Syracuse location at Sweetheart Corner in North Syracuse, New York. When flying in and out of Syracuse Hancock International Airport, make sure to visit their Palladino Farms location. At Heritage Hill, they believe in supporting our community and are excited to now meet you where you're at and where you're going with their local farm-raised tastes. Find out more information at heritagehillbrewery.com.
This is Amy from Mother's Cupboard, home of the whole frittata. We are open daily 6 a.m. to 1:30 p.m. For takeout orders, call 315-432-0942 and tune in to Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora for our monthly food challenge and try our Wake Up Call signature menu item available 7 days a week. Here at Mother's Cupboard, we are Central New York, and it's our honor to serve you.
Ma and Pa's Kettle Corn and Popcorn Factory remind us that every day is worth celebrating at 201 7th North Street in Liverpool, New York. Open Monday through Saturday in-store and always online at maandpaspopcorn.com. Serving our Central New York community and beyond, order anywhere, anytime at maandpaspopcorn.com. Stop in to get a tin at Ma and Pa's on 201 7th North Street in Liverpool, New York to get your half-price refills for the rest of your life. Come to Ma and Pa's for your holiday gift giving for family, friends, employees, and clients. And remember, for fundraising and events, to call 315-450-6272. That's 315-450-6272. Ma and Pa's Kettle Corn and Popcorn Factory. How corny are you?
This is Jimmer Sikowski, owner-operator of Chick-fil-A Cicero, 7916 Brewerton Road in Cicero, right in front of the Home Depot. I had a deep feeling that God wanted me to do something bigger with my life and to help people, help others. kept putting Chick-fil-A in my life, and I realized as I was going through the franchise selection process that positively impacting the lives of others was really core to what we do here at Chick-fil-A. First of all, it starts with the food. The food is brought in fresh daily. We bring in local produce. We prepare to order in the kitchen. We hand bread our chicken. We hand spin our milkshakes. It's great food. It doesn't taste like fast food. I think the second thing is the way people feel when they come in a Chick-fil-A restaurant. It's different. We try to treat people with intentional kindness here, which is very different and deeper than good customer service. And so I think it feels remarkable for most people to come in a Chick-fil-A restaurant. And then lastly, the impact that we try to have in the community is very different. It's a big part of the expectation of every operator of a Chick-fil-A restaurant is that they're actively engaged in their community, they're a leader in the community, and they're making a difference. When they realize that what we're striving to do is to shine a little light in their life, that's a very, very different experience than you will have in any other quick service restaurant. And it's that remarkable experience that I think people will emotionally connect with.
Welcome back here to Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora, hanging out with you where sports truly meets that thing called life. I appreciate you being here with us every Monday through Friday from 9 a.m. to 11 a.m. Eastern Time. And of course, we are inside of these beautiful and wonderful Heritage Hill studios where all our specials have come from last Friday all the way through. We were off on Monday for Memorial Day, and I did put up a message, and I'm going to reiterate this again since I have the opportunity to. There is no amount of time that can suffice thanking somebody for giving up their lives. And there is no amount of time that can suffice for thanking someone who is willing to give up their life. And you know, police officers, firefighters, ambulance drivers, first responders, you know, all these people that run at the crisis, right? Those that run toward a hurricane or a tornado to try and save people and get people out of harm's way. There's no amount of thanks, you know, to SWAT, to, you know, those that are in our military, in the Air Force, in the Army, in the Navy, in the Marines, there's in the National Guard. There's no amount of thanks that we can give. There's no amount of time we can give. And I just want to, as we started this week off on Memorial Day, I want to once again reiterate my appreciation for those that have been called and have answered that call to defend and protect freedom and health and safety and happiness and goodness. I want to thank you for all that you've done. And for those that have died doing it, I can never thank you enough. And for those of you that are out there willing to die doing it, I can also never thank you enough. I appreciate my great-uncle Bucky, my great-uncle Carmen, my great-uncle Pat, my great-uncle Vincent, my Papa Cavino, my Pop Miller, who all put themselves in harm's way. And they all made it home. World War II saw both of my grandfathers and 3 of my great-uncles, 6 people in our family, all go to World War II, and they all came home. Members of the Navy, the Army, and the Air Force. And if they didn't come home, my family doesn't exist. My grandfather was 18 years old, my dad's dad. If he didn't come home, and my grandfather was a little bit older on, I think maybe he was 20, 28 or in his, you know, late 20s on my mom's side. If they didn't come home, then I have no mom and dad. And then there's no me. So to bring that into reality, there's a lot of sacrifice that goes on out there that we know nothing about. And I just want to say thank you again, because planting a flag is great and saying a prayer one day is great. But I think we need to go beyond a day. I think we need to go beyond planting one flag. Not that those things don't matter, but I think we need to just be thankful every single day, because freedom is a God-given privilege that humanity has taken away. And God never meant for us to not be free. I think people made that decision. And I'm just grateful to those that are trying to make sure that everybody has a better life today. So thank you, truly. The PGA, we should just call it the PJA. That would make it easier for me. The PJA. But, you love golf. You love the world of golf. We spoke about Scottie Scheffler, but what else is going on in the world of golf actually on, the greens, so to speak, that you've enjoyed so far this season? We've seen some big moments. Xander won his first ever PGA championship. We got to see so much success with Scottie Scheffler already. We have seen success in women's golf. We've seen success in men's golf. There's been so many moments to kind of reflect on and be happy with. Why do you watch it, and what can you say about the current state of the PGA?
Well, it's a heck of a skill to learn. And it took me, 15 years to get to my handicap. It was a 2. And that takes a lot of work. And these guys put in 5 times or 10 times more work I ever did. And they deserve the accolades that they get, and they deserve the money they earn. Unfortunately, what's happening now is we're not talking about the Scottie Schefflers or the X-Men winning tournaments and playing well. We're talking about what's happening off the course between the 2 leagues. Yeah. The LIV League, which is started by the Saudis in Arabia, versus our own PGA. The LIV has smacked the PGA in the mouth, and the PGA just is not reiterating. They're talking to them, but they're not putting any pressure on them. The amount of money that these guys have chosen to leave the PGA and go play for, guaranteed, in the LIV is sick. It's filthy, phenomenal. Their tournaments are $20 million, with the winner getting $4 million. Our tournaments are $9 million, $12 million. There's nothing wrong with that. Yeah. But what the LIV did a couple of years ago was that they put it out there. They said, "Listen, we're a new league. I want to try this." Greg Norman's behind it. A Hall of Fame golfer, just a great guy and a good businessman. And he got together with the Arab people, and they said, "Look, if we can put this together, we can make it an international event, not just a national event." And that's what happened. They put the money out there. The guys from PGA responded, and they got a teeing off money. Like Dustin Johnson got $400 million. Yeah. Come on. I mean, this is crazy money. Play money. But those guys, there's a lot of them that used to be in the PGA that aren't in the PGA anymore. And the thing that gripes me, where the 2 sides can't come together, is that when the PGA puts on their 4, or really 5, with the Players Championship down here in Florida, the 5 championships for golf, that is supposed to open them up to everyone that can play the game. If you're a PGA member and you play well in a qualifying tournament, then you can get into these tournaments. But now they've nixed the LIV players, including the guys that are multi-talented and already have several championships among them. Brooks Koepka, Norman's won, Dustin Johnson, and so on and so on. Pat Rogers. They're not given. Let's say, how can I say this peacefully now? They're not given the latitude that the LIV would give the PGA. And by that I mean that just because you play on another tour, even though you're a major winner on the U.S. Tour, this U.S. Tour is denying the privilege of the LIV player to come and play. That's not right. If you have an Open Championship or a PGA, Open means if you qualify in an event, you get to play. Yeah. It's not. That's the way it should be. You play your way in. And if you are a past champion, you need to be playing in these. I want to see, if I see a golf tournament, right now I'm not seeing the best players play. And I'm not going to watch the LIV, and I very rarely watch the PGA golf anymore, but I do watch the majors. When I watch the majors, I want to see the best players playing for that major.
Yeah.
And that's not happening right now. To give you another example, there's a guy named Richard Bland, who used to be in the shall we say, the British tour, European tour. He never won over there. In all those years, he played 17 years, never won. So he comes to the United States, he qualifies for the senior PGA, where you have to be over 50. What does he do? He wins it.
Yeah.
Now, the PGA did not want that guy coming over here, so he wins it. Now there's even more of a pissing match going on. So Bland takes his money, goes back across the pond, and will play the rest of the LV tour or the European tour, whichever one he wants to. He said he wants to retire, which is fine. Our PGA tour has done a good job with allowing our older players to play in events where they don't have to knock heads with the 25-year-old guys. If you can hit the ball 300 yards and play a good iron game, chip and putt, get the ball in the hole, you're going to make out okay. Now with the older guys, they can't do that knocking heads with the younger guys. I call them flat bellies because they don't have any pot hanging over. And this PGA, justifiably so, came up with a tour, which is a senior tour, to allow the players 50 years and older to play for prize money. That's great. That's wonderful. But now you're going back and forth with the contest, the pissing contest between the two leagues. They say there's going to be a deal. Nothing's worked yet.
Yeah.
A few people have resigned from the board of the PGA, no one from the LIV. The LIV came in with $100 billion. Listen to that number. $100 billion to make this tour possible, a world tour. They guaranteed the prize money. They guaranteed the players to play. And the players are making a hell of a lot more money over there than they are over here.
Yeah.
You're only playing maybe 10 or 12 tournaments in the LIV as opposed to 30-something tournaments here. But you don't have the grind you have every week. You don't have the travel you got every week. In the LIV, you're only playing 3 rounds. PGA, you got 4 rounds. Hey, it's a cakewalk. If you can play golf, you can play anywhere in the world.
Yeah. And that's reality, right? That you could play anywhere in the world. And the LIV was here to create opportunity that we didn't have. They wanted to give more, right? Give more money, give something different, make some teams, change some things up, make it look different, try and make it more fun in their opinion. And what it's come down to is this something that can be worked out? The LIV, now, when you look at the NFL, the XFL comes out, right? They bring back their new iteration of who they are. And when that iteration comes out, the XFL, tries different things. Then the UFL tries different things. Or the USFL, I should say, tries different things. Then the UFL returns as a combination of the UFL and the USFL. And when they return, they now have these pieces that the leagues have tested, right? This is how they're going to do kickoffs. This is how they're going to do this. This is how they're going to do that. They try some different things. Then the NFL looks to adopt those things. And the NFL says, you know what? That worked. I like that. Well, when I look at the LIV and I look at the PGA, I think to myself, the LIV wouldn't exist right now as we talk on Wake Up Call inside of the Heritage Hill Studios. The LIV wouldn't exist right now if there wasn't something that somebody saw lacking in golf. And when other leagues form and other opportunities form that were not pre-existing, there's the reality that you can learn from those things. You can either be competitors or you can learn from each other, right? It would bode well for the leagues that are not the NFL, that are professional football leagues, to find a way to work with the NFL. Or they're just going to be butting heads. They're just going to be going against each other. They could be utilized for ideas. Maybe the NFL doesn't want to do something that's 32 franchises wide. Maybe they want to watch the UFL do it and say, well, the UFL did it with 8 teams and we liked it, so we're going to now adopt that. We saw it on a smaller scale. We thought it worked. We're going to put it through a process, and the NFL's done some of those things. So maybe the LIV exists so that the PGA can get better, but it's not happening yet. They're not getting better yet. They're not working together yet. This is a thing where the LIV's got this money, but they said to the PGA guy, hey, you got membership in the PGA, and you go play in the LIV, good riddance to your membership. It ain't easy getting a membership in the PGA, or else we'd all have one. So when you have it, and you're a good player, a great player, and they say, hey, if you go do something else, if you go make more money, if you go travel the world, shame on you, you can't do that. Now, the way I look at golfers is different than I look at guys on teams, right? If you got a contract with the Jaguars, you got a contract with the Jaguars. You can't go in the middle of a 3-year contract, go play for the Rams, and then come back to the Jaguars. You can't do that. But when you're a golfer, you're kind of each your own business, right? You get to work with the brands you want to work with. You get to wear the shirts you want to wear, the hats you want to wear. You get to take a picture with, Frosted Flakes or whatever you want to do because you're your own independent contractor, essentially. And I know that world because I've lived it. So when the PGA says, if you're going to go to the LIV and you're going to try out this new thing and you're going to do this new design of golf and you're going to do something with golf that's like a little bit faster and it's got teams and it's got logos and this and that, and you can make more money, we're going to punish you. We're not going to let you come in here. PJ's saying, well, now I'm not getting to watch the best golfers, so now it's pissing me off because if I don't want to watch the LIV and the PGA is punishing those that are going to the LIV, now I'm not seeing the best of the best in the PGA and I'm not necessarily liking the LIV, so now I'm stuck in the middle. So it seems like these two need to work together. But in order to work together, cooler heads must prevail. And I can tell you something, PJ, that works in all walks of life. When you're stubborn, you lose. Always.
Yeah. Well, it's a tough situation, but cooler heads are going to prevail here, I think, probably by the end of the summer. And I think there'll be some type of agreement that both tours can live with. The PGA has always been a stuffed shirt society. That's what they are.
Yeah.
They're a bunch of stuffed shirts. They're privileged. They're privileged because they can play golf at private golf clubs throughout the world, not public golf course. Oh, they wouldn't dare play a public golf course. I want to go play a private golf course. And, just like the Masters. The Masters are a big bunch of beat-up old Southern gentlemen who can't think straight. But they got the Masters, and they have all these things that they want people to do. And look, it was just 10 years ago that they finally had a black guy be a member of Augusta, which holds the Masters every year. And recently, I think it was in the last 5 years, now they have a black woman, who can play golf there. That's how close-minded these people are. And PGA needs to take the step like LIV did. If they're going to put the money out there and have these guys who are independent contractors, you said that correct. These guys, they pay their own way. No one pays their way. Yeah. And if they play, they make money, they keep playing. If they don't, then they go back to a club job and teach pros for $75 an hour. That's the way it is. And the PGA is just a bunch of real. It just grates me to see that. And every time I hear the Masters come out with that phony music that they play and showing all the flowers going up and down, it's not the way it is, folks. It's not the way it is. No one plays. Very few people. Let me tell you this. This is for sure. Very few people. The rest of the year will play the Augusta golf course and the Masters. You can't even ride a car. And you, God forbid, you ever walk. Oh, you can't walk these places. You gotta ride a cart. You gotta ride it on the golf cart path. You can't go on the fairway. Oh, Daniel, it's crazy. And Look. When I was in New York the second time, I had my own privilege. Fortunately for me, I played at a country club, and it was a Jewish country club, and there weren't a lot of, shall we say, Caucasians, American people there. Certainly no Italians, that's for sure. And it was fine. I enjoyed the people there. I enjoyed the course. But sometimes you're in a situation where if you're an ethnic like I am, and I go to a belt that's Jewish, then I had to make my way. I had to smooth some feathers just for me to get around. But I did enjoy my country club up there. Played a lot of golf, and the Jewish people I got to know very well because I grew up, as you know, I grew up in Italian neighborhoods, and we had our own thing. I never really got into any other ethnic group, including the blacks, until I was in college. So that's the way it is. It's a terrible situation, and I hope that they can learn from it. But if you don't see any good press coming out, you just keep ranting about them because it's terrible. It's awful. Both sides are very narrow-minded, especially the PGA. They think that the PGA, their poop doesn't stink. I mean, that's just the way these guys think. Well, that's not the way it works in the world. And the LIV is taking it to them.
Yeah, no, they aren't. Like you said, just the closed-mindedness and these. I mean, I remember growing up and I didn't feel welcome in a country club. I was, I felt like I was thinking like my parents are blue collar. I'm a blue collar kid. Like, I have nice clothes, but I'm not going to wear a suit when it's 97 degrees outside. Well, I mean, I remember going to golf courses and thinking like, I'm not allowed, like, I don't make sense here. So it's really been a closed mind. Like you said, sometimes with color, sometimes with women, sometimes just with money, just making people feel like they don't belong. It's been a very, very, like you said, stuffed shirt, society of we'll decide who we let in. And, the LIV is like, hey, you want to come and play, come and play. So it's definitely two sides feuding here, and hopefully they can figure it out. But stuffy places that try to make people feel like they don't belong, those places have never been for me. They never will be for me. I could genuinely care less. If somebody looked at me and said, you don't belong here, I would say, okay, great. You can take that opinion and you can keep that to yourself and you can move on with your life, because I'm going to move on with mine. And I don't stand for any type of people that act that way. Taking a look, speaking of acting some kind of way, inside of the Heritage Hill Studios here on Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora, we have an interesting story that developed with the New York Mets. To jump into baseball, PJ, the New York Mets, well, they're not in good shape right now. They started off the season not bad, but at the time we're talking, they're 22-33. They're 16 games out of first place in their division of the NL East. They are the fourth out of 5 teams in that division. It's the Phillies, the Braves, the Nationals, then the Mets, then the Marlins. And the Marlins are not that far away from the Mets. But on top of losing, the Mets had this very weird moment where they held a team meeting. This isn't the weird moment, but the weird moment happened before this. There was a team meeting last night after the Mets were swept by the Dodgers with a 10-3 loss. Now, Jorge Lopez threw his glove into the stands after being ejected. The score was tied at 3 heading into the 8th before the Dodgers scored 6 times off of 3 relievers. One was Lopez, who surrendered a 2-run home run to Shohei Ohtani, then fell behind 3-1 to Freddie Freeman before taking issue with third base umpire Ramon De Jesus ruling on a check swing. The argument earned Lopez an ejection. Lopez would untuck his jersey, throw his glove over the netting into the crowd as he walked off the field. He didn't display any remorse. He said, quote, "No, I don't regret it," end quote. He said, quote, Whatever happened, happened. I'll be here tomorrow if they want me. Whatever they want to do, I'm going to keep doing this thing. You know, I'm healthy. I'm ready to come back tomorrow if they want me to be here, so I'll be here. End quote. Now, he said his dispute between him and De Jesus was a misunderstanding. He said just something out of emotions. I just don't give a F about anything. End quote. This is what Lopez said. I don't give a F about anything. I will not read what that F is because it's a family show. Now, Mets manager Carlos Mendoza said he had not yet talked to Lopez about his behavior. He said, quote, whenever you're going through a stretch like this, you want to see some emotions from players, anybody in here. But what we saw today out of Lopez, that's not acceptable, and we will address that internally here. Now, Francisco Lindor called for the players-only meeting while Mendoza addressed the media in an attempt to get the team, rally them back together. So Lindor said the meeting, which lasted over 30 minutes, was an opportunity for players to speak up and hold one another accountable. It also came after the team placed closer Edwin Diaz on the injured list with a shoulder impingement earlier Wednesday and lost slugger Pete Alonso to a hand injury after he was hit by a pitch against the Dodgers. Lindor said, quote, it was good for everybody. A lot of players talked. It's really good. A lot of knowledge was dropped. Now we just got to pull it together. End quote. Now, the trade deadline is July 30th. The question becomes, do the Mets look to get rid of some of these players? Do the Mets put themselves in a situation where they start trading guys away and looking toward the future? Do they hang tough in this season where they've currently played 55 games? What do they do, PJ, in your opinion? And what are your thoughts on a guy just dropping, the F-bomb, just letting people know he doesn't give a F, and throwing his glove into the stands?
Well, he's not playing anymore. They gave him his walking papers, which is an unrestricted free agent. So he can try to sign up with a minor league team and work his way through with another team. But the Mets had all they could take of. Too bad. The guy was doing really well this year, really well, and he just got in over his head a couple times, and he got hit. And when he got hit, your ERA goes up. You can't get any outs in crucial situations. So he gets all pissed off, and then it doesn't work that way. I mean, this guy, he's been around. He's no guy from Dominican who just came over here and can't speak English. This guy's been around, so it's a terrible situation. The Mets are pitiful. Matter of fact, I was going to say something about them today, but I'm glad you brought them up. They're 22 and 33. Like I said, they're 16 games behind. Well, and their last 10 games are 2 and 8. So where are you going with that? You're not going anywhere with that. So, with that being said, there's nothing they can do, Daniel, because no one's going to want to play for them. Or they can try to get rid of some of their good players in the minor league in order to get some veterans to help shore up the team this year. But they're too far behind, and they're not competitive. And, you can play a game and lose 5-3 or 2-1 or something like that. But if you're getting spanked all the time, your pitching ERA is up over 5. You can't win too many games 10-9. You're not going to win any games 3-2. So, you need to get some better players. And if they don't have a farm system that has good players, then they're not going to be able to trade for some of these guys in the other teams that want to move to join the Mets. And when they do that, they're usually only there for that year, and they're not signed up to 2025. So if you trade for a player, say from Baltimore, and comes to New York, well, his contract is up in 24. He's not signed for 25, but he can play for you for what he was making in Baltimore. Now, at the end of the season, this guy says, I ain't staying here. I'll be a free agent. Let me go. So they don't have any chance to sign him. So it's awful. The Mets are terrible. They got terrible leadership. The new coach, I feel bad for him. The new manager, This is his first job, and he got in. He's really into a hornet's nest. He's got two major league all-stars that play. Francisco Lindar, who's a terrific infielder, and Pete Alonso, go Gators. Terrific first baseman who leads the league almost every year in home runs. Now he's out. So if I was a New York Met fan in New York, I'd be going to the Yankees.
Yeah. No, and that, obviously that makes perfect sense. The Yankees are in a place right now where they're in a difficult race here with the Baltimore Orioles, but they're currently leading them at the time of conversation. The Boston Red Sox have found some life. The Rays are struggling. The Jays are struggling, but neither one of those teams is that far away out of being 500. So, PJ, as we typically do here on the show with you, we're going to jump into the Major League Baseball standings and the statistics right after this fast break here on Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora inside of the Heritage Hill Studios. Plenty coming up with PJ on Major League Baseball right after this. In these unique times, there are those in our community that give us a sense of normalcy and positivity. Pizza Man on 50 Oswego Street in Baldwinsville has been here for you for over 35 years and is here now. Call 315-638-1234 or order online at pizzamanbville.com to bring those familiar tastes into your home. And remember to come see our monthly on-site broadcasts centered around the community and our Baldwinsville Bees. Pizza Man in Baldwinsville. Any way you slice it, they are always here for you. Looking for your next ride? Look no further than Great Lakes Honda City, located on 7140 Henry Clay Boulevard in Liverpool, New York. Serving our community for decades, their new and pre-owned vast array of vehicles are available to you Monday through Saturday on site. To search from home, shop at GreatLakesHondaCity.com. Call 315-365-5576 to set up an appointment. That's 315-365-5576 for Great Lakes Honda City, 7140 Henry Clay Boulevard in Liverpool, New York. Great cars, great people, Great Lakes.
Our corporate purpose at Chick-fil-A is to glorify God by being faithful stewards of all that's entrusted to us and to positively influence all those who come in contact with Chick-fil-A. And what became increasingly clear from our success in Cicero is that people love Chick-fil-A. And also I think we recognize that, we had a great opportunity to grow the brand and grow our platform. I felt incredibly grateful when I was selected to be a Chick-fil-A operator. I think what it's meant for me, what I've come to realize on a very deep level is that this is a calling for me. It's not a career, it's not a job. The Lord called me to be a Chick-fil-A operator and to use these restaurants to glorify Him and to positively influence other people. I'm blessed. I'm very blessed.
Head to Chick-fil-A Clay on 3974 State Route 31 in Liverpool, New York. Avicoli's, located on the corner of Route 57 and Wetzel Road in Liverpool, New York, has been your trusted neighbor for decades. Located just steps from Liverpool High School, we're happy to have the Liverpool Warriors on-site, on-location broadcast at Avicoli's through Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora every single month, featuring student athletes, coaches, and administration throughout the year from Liverpool High School. Head out to Avicoli's today on the corner of Route 57 and Wetzel Road in Liverpool, New York, open Tuesday through Sunday for lunch, dinner, and drinks. We'd love to see you out there, and of course you can call them at 315-622-5100 for takeout, delivery, and catering. That's 315-622-5100, and also find them on myavicolis.com. That's myavicollis.com. Having peace of mind when you're out of town that your furry-loving friend is safe and sound means taking them to Canine Campground, because we all know that when it comes to the love of our pets, it goes well beyond the call of duty to make sure they're safe and sound. Right, Lily? So take a ride to 242 Johnson Street in East Syracuse, New York, and see Canine Campground and where your dog will be staying in the classic cabin, the executive cabin, the grand cabin, or of course the luxury cabin, because if you know Lily, you know she loves luxury. Now you don't have to wait to the last minute to find a family member or a friend that'll take your dog for a few days. Call Canine Campground at 315-299-4013. That's 315-299-4013. Their drop-off and pickup times are Monday through Sunday. Check K9campground.com for more information. That's the letter K, the number 9, and campground spelled with a K.com. K9campground.com.
When you're going out of town, bring your dog to Canine Campground.
PB&J's Lunchbox, the food truck that you love finding all throughout Central and Upstate New York, now has a street-side cafe. So when you're craving their traditional favorites as well as their out-of-box amazing menu items, you can now head to 663 Old Liverpool Road in Liverpool, New York. Located just minutes from the highway, the Thruway, Destiny USA, and Onondaga Lake Parkway, PB&J's Lunchbox Street-Side Cafe is there for you Monday through Saturday from 9 a.m. to 7 p.m., serving breakfast, lunch, and dinner all throughout the day. Get breakfast for dinner, dinner for lunch, whatever you fancy, including their award-winning grilled peanut butter and jelly sandwich. Find them at 663 Old Liverpool Road in Liverpool, New York. PB&J's Lunchbox, where we love to know what's in your lunchbox. Welcome back here to Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora, where sports meets life. Hanging out with you here every Monday through Friday from 9 a.m. to 11 a.m. Eastern Time. Today's a little bit different as we have returned to the studio from our second home of the great and beautiful state of Florida. And, of course, our second home for Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora, and our second hub of the show, and really Dan Tortora Broadcast Media with our Do Diz with Dan show, as well as our wake-up call coverage of the Jacksonville Jaguars, the Tampa Bay Rays, the Miami Dolphins, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, the Orlando Magic, UCF, USF, Miami, Go Gators, Florida, as well as Florida State. So, and the high school recruiting. So we do a lot of work down in Florida, and it was great to be there. It's great to be my natural color again. And I'm happy that my skin is back looking the color as it should. As I tell everybody, I'm tinted. So, you know, I got that like they call it the olive complexion, but Mom and I got our tan on for sure. And we're here with Papa Joe, who is in North Florida, as we're hanging out here this morning. PJ and I talking about a lot of different things and spending some extra time with you. PJ, let's jump into this. And let's get into the standings. Jerry said, "I wish the Phillies could play the Mets every day." That is not a that's not a compliment to those Mets out there. So PJ, let's hop into Major League Baseball's standings and the statistics, and let's do what you do so very well, is take a look at where these teams are at and what's going on. If you don't want to mention. Oh, yeah, go ahead. I was going to say, if you don't want to mention my Diamondbacks, that's okay, because we're 4th out of 5 in the NL West.
Okay.
Go ahead.
In American League East, the Yankees are 38-19. They're leading the division. Baltimore is 35-19, 1.5 behind. Red Sox 28-28. They're 9.5 behind. It looks like the Yankees and the Baltimore Orioles, as I said earlier in the year, they're the Central Division. You got Cleveland 37-19. Kansas City, 35 and 22, 2.5 behind. Minnesota playing great ball. Lately, 30 and 25, 6.5 behind. Minnesota in the last 10 games. Cleveland's 8 and 2. I mean, Cleveland's hitting on all cylinders. So I'm happy for that. Happy. I like to see Cleveland play. Because the last couple of years, the Central Division has done nothing.
Right.
The winner barely can play 500 balls. This is a lot different this year. The West, I think all the bad baseball, Central is now playing in the West Division. Seattle's 31 and 28. Texas 27 and 29. They're 3.5 behind. Houston is making a run. They're too good to lay down. Verlander played pitched the other night, only gave up a couple runs in 7 innings. Houston's 24 and 32, 6.5 games behind. For the stats, the batting average, Salvatore Perez from Kansas City is leading the league at 325. He's a very underrated player. He plays hard every. He's a catcher. Catchers have it tough, and I'll tell you about that later with the Negro League. Home runs, Kyle Tucker from Houston's got 6 or 8, or 18, I should say. And Gunnar Henderson from Baltimore's also got 18. The RBIs, Jose Ramirez has got 56. I got to say a shout-out here for Ramirez. Ramirez, every year, I'm not exaggerating, every year he plays up to most valuable player standards. He's just been voted. This year he's hitting 271, 16 home runs, 58 RBIs, leading in those two categories. He's a great player. He doesn't get enough recognition, so I hope he does. Seth Lugo of Kansas City's got 9 wins. He's also leading the league in ERA of 1.72. That's why Kansas City has got 35 wins. A lot of it because of Mr. Lugo. The saves, Emmanuel from Cleveland's got 17, and I think Clay Holmes, the guy that I've been touting for a month, he got 16 until he got hit. Let's go to the National League. We got the Phillies leading all of baseball with a record of 39 and 18. Atlanta, who I thought would walk away with this division, is not doing that. They're 31 and 22. They've got some serious injury problems with some star players. They're 6 games behind Philly. If they don't start picking it up, Philly's got 3 dominant pitchers right now. Wheeler, and this new guy that's coming on, Ranger Suarez, and Aaron Nola. Those 3 guys are leading Philadelphia. And if Atlanta doesn't start keeping up, they're going to fall behind. As we talked about, the Mets are 22 and 33. They're 16 games behind.
Yeah.
The Central Division, Milwaukee's leading with a fair record of 32 and 23. Chicago, 28 and 28. St. Louis is 27 and 27. St. Louis was 8 and 2 in their last 10 games. Both of these teams are 4.5 games behind Milwaukee.
Yeah.
Anyone can win. Any one of these 3 teams can win that division. And in West, we got LA, who we thought was going to run away with things. They probably are. They're only 36 and 22, though. They're having trouble scoring runs, which is unusual when you got Ohtani. San Francisco is 29 and 28. San Diego is 30 and 29. Both of these teams are 6.5 games behind LA. Zona, Daniel, they're 25 and 30. They're 9.5 games out.
Yeah.
Now, if they can start playing these teams ahead of them, San Francisco, San Diego, LA, playing them good in series, winning a series 2-1, or splitting a series 2-2, they can stay with each out and get it. But if not, they're going to be a long gone before the summer starts. Batting averages here, we got Arias from Miami is tied with Mookie Betts. They're both hitting 332. Ohani's hitting 330. Home runs, Marcell Ozuna got 16 from Atlanta. Ohtani's got 14. RBIs, Osuna's got 49. Looks like he's got an MVP year going too. My Cy Young Award winner so far this year is Ranger Suarez from Philadelphia. He got 9 wins, He leads this National League with an ERA of 1.75. I love it. Love the way the guy throws. He looks at Wheeler, and he looks at Noel, and he says, I want to pitch like those guys. And damn if he isn't. Saves. Ryan Hensley from St. Louis, we got 18. That's it.
Yeah.
For the stats.
Well,
I got other stuff too.
Well, yeah, and before you jump into that, I want to just hit a couple notes here. The Arizona Diamondbacks, like you said, if they can win some games, are 25-30. Typically, when you and I have talked about them week in and week out, they're 2 games under 500. Right now, they're a few more. However, if you look at their schedule right now, it stands to reason because they start a 4-game series today against the Mets. Perfect timing. And so they have the Mets today, Friday, Saturday, Sunday in New York. So they have an opportunity there with a team that's reeling and trying to figure out what it's going to do and just getting rid of a guy who got ejected. They can take advantage of that moment and go there and play some good ball. Then they're going to go up against the San Francisco Giants, who are ahead of them, and that's going to be at home. Then they're going to go on the road against the San Diego Padres, who are ahead of them. So that can help them move forward, like you said. A 3-game series against San Fran, a 4-game against San Diego. Then they have the Angels, who have nobody. You know, you got Rendon injured. You got Trout injured. Obviously, Shohei Ohtani's with the Dodgers now. And then you play the Chicago White Sox, who are having a horrendous season. So before they get to a 3-game series at Washington and a 3-game series at Philadelphia, the Arizona Diamondbacks, on paper, are playing the Mets, the Angels, and the White Sox. If they can handle those series and then try to win the series or get a couple from San Diego and San Francisco, now all of a sudden there's more life in this team between Thursday, May 30th and Sunday, June 16th. And by the middle of June, we could be looking at a different team that's above 500 and in good footing. What do you think?
It's possible, Daniel. But their leadoff man, who was a sensational young player, Corbin Carroll, is still batting below. He had 3 hits last night, but he's still hitting below the Mendoza line.
Yeah.
And I mentioned last week, I thought he should be moved down in the order, maybe get some better at bats instead of leading off, not getting any good pitches to hit or to swing at. He's in a slump, and he's too young. He's too young to be in a slump. So he's got to work his way out of it, but he's got to do it in conjunction with what the manager says. If you want to move him down on the order, do that. Don't lead him off. If the kid's going to get a sour attitude, you've got to get him out of the leadoff spot.
Now, I want to hit the divisions really quick before we hit what else you had for baseball. There's 2 divisions of the 6 divisions in baseball, 3 in the American, 3 in the National. Of the 6 divisions that exist in Major League Baseball, there's only 2 where the worst team is less than a double-digit amount of games behind. So those close races that we're seeing, the NL West with Seattle leading, the Rangers 3.5 back, Houston, like you said, making a run 6.5 back, Oakland 8 back, the Angels 9 back. So we look at that NL West division. And then we look, AL West division. Then we look at the NL Central, where the Milwaukee Brewers lead St. Louis and Chicago, who are both 4.5 back. Pittsburgh 6.5 back, and Cincinnati Reds are 8.5 back. What are your thoughts on those 2 divisions, knowing that the worst team in the NL West is 9 games back, and the worst in the NL Central is 8.5 games back? 2 divisions that we're talking about here on Wake Up Call inside of the Heritage Hill Studios that have a tight race from the number 1 team all the way to the number 5.
Well, to talk about the Mets and the Marlins, they ain't going anywhere. So the National League Central only has 3 teams. That's all they got to worry about. Now, the other side of the coin, the Angels in Oakland, the Angels that we described don't have Mike Trout. He's rehabbing on another injury. They don't have Renfroe. I'm not sure what's happening with Renfroe. I don't know. It's a mess. It's a mess. What I'm trying to do is I'm trying to concentrate on the teams that are doing well and the players are doing well. Because with good play by your team, You get some individual performances that come up and say, hey, this guy's got a chance to be the Cy Young Award winner, or this guy's got a chance to be the MVP of the league. Those are important to me right now. I'm not going to follow anyone unless they win 20 in a row. They're not worth talking about because the players are not playing up to their potential and the managers are not managing. It's nothing to do with the schedule. All these guys, they never know who they're going to play from year to year. It's just you got a team. You got to put 23 guys out there. You got to play. That's all.
Yeah, I know you had more things that you wanted to jump into baseball-wise. So what else do you have on the docket before we finish off here with the Jaguars?
A lot to say about the Negro League, which is now being incorporated into our Major Baseball League. That's a long show in itself. I have a lot of information on that, Daniel.
Okay.
And I think that's probably for another show.
Okay. Yeah, no, absolutely. And as PJ just mentioned here, the Negro League is going to have their statistics officially put into Major League Baseball history, which is a huge move, a monumental move for baseball, for the African-American community, and for history in baseball, which is huge. I do want to jump into the Jaguars here and talk about the latest before we finish up things with Papa Joe here on Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora inside of the Heritage Hill Studios. Heritage Hill out in Pompey at the Brew House, and Heritage Hill North in North Syracuse on 628 South Main Street in North Syracuse at Sweetheart Corner. We're going to be there tonight and tomorrow. You got a double dose of Wake Up Call on site on location at Heritage Hill North. We'll be there tonight, May 30th at 6 p.m. with the CNS North Stars softball team. And then Friday, May 31st, also at 6 p.m., we'll be there with the CNS North Stars girls lacrosse team. I do want to get into this with the Jaguars, PJ. It is a unique story. It's not a story that I want to tell, but here we are. So, and when I say I don't want to tell it, it's because it's something that, if true, is not good. Brandon McManus and the Jacksonville Jaguars have been sued by two women over allegations of sexual assault during the team's flight to London last season. Quote, according to the lawsuit, the two women worked as flight attendants on the Jaguars' September 28, 2023 Atlas Air Worldwide Holdings charter flight, and they allege the flight, quote, quickly turned into a party as McManus and several other players disregarded the flight attendants' personal space, air travel safety, and federal law, end quote. That coming from ESPN's Michael DeRocco. It says, quote, the lawsuit also claims that McManus recruited three other flight attendants to the party and passed out $100 bills to encourage them to drink and dance inappropriately for him. An attorney for McManus called the claims absolutely fictitious in a statement. The statement from Brett R. Galloway, a partner of McLaughlin and Stern on behalf of Brandon McManus, said, quote, to be clear, these are absolutely fictitious and demonstrably false allegations made as part of a campaign to defame and disparage a talented and well-respected NFL player. We intend to aggressively defend Brandon's rights and integrity and clear his name by showing what these claims truly are, an extortion attempt, end quote. So the Washington Commanders are where Brandon McManus currently is, and the Washington Commanders put out a statement, said, earlier today we were made aware of the civil lawsuit filed on May 24th against Brandon McManus. We take allegations of this nature very seriously and are looking into the matter. We have been in communication with the league office and Brandon's representation and will reserve further comment at this time, end quote. The Jaguars issued a statement and said, quote, we're aware of the complaint and we acknowledge the significance of the claims. As we continue to look into the matter, it bears emphasizing that we insist on an organization built by people who represent our community and game with the highest character and class, end quote. One woman who's identified as Jane Doe 1 said McManus attempted to kiss her and was quote, twice grinding up against her while she was serving the flight's two meal services, end quote. The other woman, Jane Doe 2, said McManus, quote, grinded up against her, end quote, and, quote, smirked and walked away, end quote, when she confronted him. The women said they suffered, quote, severe mental anguish, end quote, among other mental health issues since the alleged incidents, and say they have been removed from the staffs that work with the flights the Jaguars charter. They're seeking around $1 million in damages. And Brandon McManus isn't on the team anymore, but this happened when he was a member of the Jaguars. So here we are, PJ. So I'm thinking about the Jaguars news getting ready for training camp, but this is one of the things that popped up. What are your thoughts?
Well, I had this to talk about today too, Daniel. Unfortunately, we don't have enough time to talk about it all. But what I think happened is, I think that Brandon's got a drinking problem, and I say that I think rather loosely too, because this situation happened last year, and all of a sudden this year we're hearing about it. I don't understand the timing of the young ladies. I also got from the information that I have down here is that McManus is a large man. He's 6'3", and the stewardesses were one's 5'2", the other's 5'3", and he was physically, trying to impose himself on them. And I think that's what scared them, because he's such a bigger person.
Yeah.
And but I do think that Brandon's had a serious problem, but they also may have a serious drinking problem too.
Yeah, we'll have to see what happens from here. The Jacksonville Jaguars getting ready here with new talent on their team and a hope for a bright future, bringing in 3 LSU players via the draft and really banking on Baton Rouge to help them out as they move forward this season, including 2 defensive tackles that both came from the LSU Tigers. So, PJ, any final notes before we bid you adieu for the week?
No, I'm glad you got that information about Fran Brown, and I wish him luck up there. I know that his recruiting class is number 11. I've been following it pretty tight. He's got 19 kids signed, 18 of them are 3-stars, and he looks like he can work good with 3-stars. So I look forward to your comments on him when they start getting going.
Yeah, that coming from Papa Joe here, as always with us on a Thursday. PJ, we'll talk with you soon, and my best to you and MT and Joey and everybody down there in Florida. I look forward to speaking with you in just a little bit.
Thank you, bud. See you later.
Hey, take care. That coming from Papa Joe here on Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora, where sports truly meets that thing called life. I do want to make mention here. I was talking about the things going on in the PGA, and I mentioned the LPGA, but I want to mention Nelly Corda again, who has won 5 consecutive LPGA events, which I talked about a while back, weeks ago. I just want to mention Nelly Corda again because we're talking about the best of the best out there, and I wanted to make sure to give her a shout out once again because she's done a tremendous job. We're going to take a step aside on Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora, where sports meets life, from inside of the Heritage Hill Studios, and wrap things up right after this on Wake Up Call. Central New Yorkers, you can now enjoy the taste of Heritage Hill award-winning craft beers, seltzers, and a full bar at 3 locations. Spend your weekends at their beautiful location in Pompey with its amazing views, sunsets, family, and pet-friendly facilities, as well as extensive private event areas. Get their taps, tonics, and tastes in their brand new North Syracuse location at Sweetheart Corner in North Syracuse, New York. When flying in and out of Syracuse Hancock International Airport, make sure to visit their Palladino Farms location. At Heritage Hill, they believe in supporting our community and are excited to now meet you where you're at and where you're going with their local farm-raised tastes. Find out more information at heritagehillbrewery.com.
Carvel DeWitt, it's what happy tastes like. Do you know why? Because we make ice cream. Creamy, rich, flavorful ice cream. Not yogurt or iced milk like some of our competitors. Ice cream. Fresh, by hand, daily. For the calorie conscious, we have something new for you. Our new Carvelite. Same great flavor, creaminess, and texture of our regular ice cream with only 35 calories an ounce. So whether you want an ice cream cake, flying saucer, dasher, carvalanche, hard or soft ice cream, we will satisfy your craving with our fresh, handmade regular or new Carvelite ice cream. Carvel DeWitt. It's what happy tastes like.
The Wildcat Sports Pub in Camillus, New York is located on 3680 Milton Avenue in the Home Depot Plaza. It is your family-friendly sports bar and restaurant. Folks, some sports bars aren't family-friendly. Some family-friendly restaurants are not sports bars. The Wildcat Sports Pub in Camillus, New York is proud to be both. It is that marriage that you've been looking for years. The Wildcat Sports Pub is your home base for your sports bar and restaurant needs, games for the kids, indoor and outdoor activities, and enough things on the menu to come back every single week and get to try something new. They're open Sundays from noon to 8 p.m., Monday through Wednesday, 11 a.m. to 11 p.m., and Thursday through Saturday from 11 a.m. to midnight. For reservations and party information, call 315-487-2222 for the Wildcat family-friendly sports pub and restaurant.
GG Cards and Breaks. Like, comment, subscribe.
GG Cards and Breaks coming to you on 639 Delmar Place in Syracuse, New York. Make sure you head out to GG Cards and Breaks, open 7 days a week, Monday through Saturday from 10 a.m. to 6 p.m. and on Sundays from 10 to 5. You will find everything you need: hockey, basketball, baseball, football, soccer, all sport, AEW, UFC, as well as Disney Lorcana and Pokemon cards while supplies last. You'll find singles, graded cards, packs, and boxes, so you can go and get that card that you love that you're looking right at. You can get that graded card or that single card that you said, hey, this is what it is, this is what I want, this is the player, this is the team that I want to pick up. Or you can try your luck and open up a pack or a box and see what you get inside of that. They also have their back wall filled with every MLB, NFL, and NBA team. You have the opportunity to truly just find something incredible every single time you go into GG Cards and Breaks. I love the hunt. I've been collecting sports cards the majority of my life, and GG Cards and Breaks goes beyond for me. It's the personal touch, it's the customer service, it's the connection, it's the kindness and the generosity and the time that they spend. So much time trying to do something special for all of us. And the sports card community is such a beautiful community, and it keeps adding people. And I want to thank GG Cards and Breaks for being the difference and for helping big kids to, help adults to feel like big kids and helping kids to stay kids. It's just something special when you're in the trading card and sports card world. It's very meaningful. It's a lot of fun, and Josh and Anthony and the entire team do such a great job that it can never go understated. And so I look forward to having you over at GG Cards and Breaks. Let them know that DT sent you over to 639 Delmar Place in Syracuse, New York. And you can find that, of course, you can find them Monday through Saturday from 10 a.m. to 6 p.m. and on Sundays from 10 to 5 right off of Teal Ave. And we look forward to seeing you over there at GG Cards and Breaks. With that being said, inside of the Heritage Hill Studios, I want to thank Papa Joe for being a part of the show today. You've been watching and listening to Wake Up Call on YouTube.com and Facebook.com, both /WakeUpCallDT, and on WakeUpCallDT.podbean.com. So we appreciate you being there. Worldwide, Monday through Friday from 9 a.m. to 11 a.m. Eastern Time. And, of course, a big time thanks to all of you that have found us on our wonderful platforms that we have, and there's so many of them. I want to thank them all for allowing Wake Up Call to be there. That's Amazon Music, Audible, iHeartRadio, iTunes, and Apple Podcasts, Player FM, Podbean, Podchaser.com, Podvine, Spotify, TuneIn, and YouTube. All you have to do is search Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora, or one word, Wake Up Call DT, to find us on any one of these outlets. Make sure that you follow us, subscribe to us. It is free, and you can connect with us so very easily. So make sure you jump in there and find us there. Big time thanks to our incredible partners in Central and Upstate New York. Heritage Hill Brewhouse and Heritage Hill North, our exclusive studio partners, as well as Carvel DeWitt, our longest standing partner, the Wildcat Sports Pub, GG Cards and Breaks, Avicoli's, Canine Camp Dog Daycare, Chick-fil-A Cicerone, Chick-fil-A Clay, Canine Campground Dog Boarding, as well as Mon Pa's Kettle Corn and Popcorn Factory, Pizza Man, Great Lakes Honda City, Mother's Cupboard, and of course, we are the exclusive multimedia marketing partner of your Lemoyne College Dolphins. It is Fins Up every single month on Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora. You will find your Dolphins on Wednesdays at 9 a.m. Eastern Time during Dolphin Time with AD and DT featuring Athletics Director Bob Beretta, and the Dolphin Dive featuring student athletes, coaches, administration, future Dolphins, and alumni telling their stories. All of this content is available on our YouTube channel. Subscribe by going to youtube.com/wakeupcalldt. Hit the notification bell as well, and you'll find the Lemoyne Dolphins playlist. You can also find your Dolphins on wakeupcalldt.com's homepage, as well as underneath the exclusive partners tab on wakeupcalldt.com. For more information, go to lemoynedolphins.com, and as always, Fins Up. The Bryan and Stratton College Bobcats of Syracuse are exclusive multimedia marketing partners with Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora. You will find your Bobcats with us every single month, featuring the stories of men's and women's basketball, men's and women's soccer, baseball, and esports throughout the year, as well as hearing from the administration of Bryan and Stratton College of Syracuse. They have two campuses, one on James Street in Syracuse, the other right off of Route 57 in Liverpool, across the street from Avicoli's. And the Bobcat Buzz is what we call our Spotlight Specials. You can find all of their content on youtube.com/wakeupcalldt. Click subscribe, hit the notification bell. And of course, you can also find the BSC Syracuse playlist on our YouTube channel. You can also find the Bobcats at two places on wakeupcalldt.com on the homepage and underneath the exclusive partners tab. For more information, go to syracuse.bscbobcats.com and go Bobcats. The Binghamton University Bearcats are exclusive multimedia marketing partners with Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora. You will find your Bearcats Tuesdays during Bearcat Time at 10 a.m. Eastern Time with monthly specials entitled Moments with Marshall, featuring Gene Marshall, the athletics director of Binghamton University, as well as the Bearcat Break Room, featuring the stories of student athletes, coaches, and administration. You can find all of our content with Binghamton by going to youtube.com/wakeupcalldt. Click subscribe, hit the notification bell. You'll find the Binghamton playlist as well. And on two places on wakeupcalldt.com, you'll find your Bearcats on the homepage and underneath the exclusive partners tab. For more information, go to bubearcats.com and go Bearcats. With that being said, here on Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora, I want to thank, again, Papa Joe. I want to thank Mike Washington Jr. I want to thank all of my guests that we have featured, and so very proud and thankful to everybody that we got to have on the show this week. All the specials that we got to air here on Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora, with Mike Washington Jr., as well as with Gene Marshall and with Dick Rockwell, that you've gotten to see all these, Josh Lambo. And I do want to give a special thanks and appreciation to Dante Baccier, who joined me after committing to Syracuse, the fourth player locally in Central and Upstate New York to be staying at home, be recruited by Syracuse, and commit to the Orange. 3 from CBA. Dante Baccier joins teammates from CBA Syracuse, Darian Williams and Matt Hahn, and then Cartier Shepard from CNS, also committing to the Syracuse Orange, all for the incoming class of 2025. So I want to thank Dante Baccier for joining the show as well. And of course, before being off on Memorial Day, we got to share a special with you prior to that on our Friday broadcast. I did my annoying moment of the week lead, as well as the top dog of the week. We did all of those specials from down in the great state of Florida. Did those with you. So happy to be able to share those with you from down in Florida. And we also shared another special with you down in Florida as well, which I'm very grateful that we got to do on Friday's broadcast of Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora. So many thanks to everybody that got to join the show, including our OCC Lasers women's basketball special with alum and now members of the coaching staff, Kelly Sight, who has had a terrific 3 seasons there after playing at OCC and coaching under Mike Wheeler, one of the greatest coaches in our community of any sport. Kelly Sight has had a tremendous 3 seasons, and she just hired assistant coach Caitlin Walker, who started her collegiate career at OCC, then went to St. John Fisher, then went to Lemoyne and just finished there. That incredible story with the lasers. You don't want to miss that conversation with Kelly, Caitlin, and myself. So thank you to everyone who did specials with us. Thank you to Heritage Hill for being incredible as our exclusive studio partner, the Brew House out in Pompey, and Heritage Hill North at Sweetheart Corners on 628 South Main Street, North Syracuse. We look forward to seeing you at Heritage Hill tonight, May 30th at 6 p.m. as we celebrate the CNS North Stars softball team. And in the meantime, find us on Facebook at Wake Up Call DT, X at Call DT, and Instagram at Wake Up Call _DT. God bless, no stress. Do your best. Have a wonderful day. We'll talk soon.